Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Women4Wealth. So today I want to talk about, something that's probably going to hit home with a lot of you. So you're making a lot of money. You've got a high-paying job. You have accomplished something great. You've done something awesome. You have multiple revenue streams. You are, maybe you're an influencer. Maybe you wrote the next Harry Potter. I don't know, but you have done something that has put you in a situation where you have a lot of income and you've got a lot of money coming in, but you're still broke. You're still living paycheck to paycheck. It is an all too common theme, and we need to change that. I want you to live a wealthy life. And what does a wealthy life mean? It's not being rich. It's being full of, whatever you want in life. Being wealthy to me is not just about a dollar amount. It's about your lifestyle. It's about the flexibility you have in your life. It's about lack of stress, lack of anxiety. It's about not worrying how bills are going to get paid. It's about how you want to live your life and be satisfied and content. That is my goal for each and every person watching this video today. So you have high income, but your finances are still a mess. Maybe you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe every month is just a nightmare and you have a negative relationship with money and you just cannot fathom what you can do. So let's break it down. Let's talk about that. So the first thing you need to realize, making money isn't the same as managing money. So you might be able to make a lot of money. You might be in a position where hopefully you're top 10% of the earners in America. That would be wonderful. But you have to learn how to manage that money, because making it isn't the same as managing it. You have to learn how to manage the money that you make, because income doesn't equal wealth. So if you've got a high income coming in and you're not wealthy, what do you need to do? What are some things you need to do? So you need to look at how you're going to build wealth. So to build wealth, you've got to protect your future. You've got to invest wisely. You've got to save enough. One of the things that I've increased over time is the amount of your emergency savings account. So initially, you want a $1,000 emergency fund, and then you also want an additional 3 to 6 months of emergency savings. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to save and set aside enough cash that equates to 3 to 6 months worth of your spending. As you get older, as you move through life, once you're stable, once you're making good money, let's say you're married, you've got kids, you need to increase that amount more to 6 to 9 months worth of money set aside in a savings account, to where if something happened, because it happens, life happens. Murphy's Law moves into my spare bedroom from time to time, and I'm sure he does yours too. Stuff happens in life. So be prepared. Plan, save, have an emergency savings account. 3 to 9 months. Where did 3 to 9 months worth of spending come from? Well, that really truthfully came from probably a decade ago. It's been a while. But anyway, I was talking to a recruiter and I was trying to fill a role and position at not my current company that I owned, but when I was an employee, I had a position on my team, and I was talking to a recruiter about, hey, I need to fill this spot. And, the recruiter said, well, we've got these 3 candidates, and then we've got this other guy. This other guy, though, he hadn't found a position in 6 months. I've been representing him. He's had a lot of callbacks. He's had several second interviews, but he hasn't landed a position yet. And I said, well, if nobody's picked him up in 6 months, is he really that good? And the recruiter pushed back and said, actually, 3 to 6 months is where they're falling right now. That most people, if they get laid off or if they decide they're going to leave a job, it takes them 3 to 6 months to be able to find their next position. And that got me thinking, okay, if someone were to get laid off and you didn't find your next job for 6 months, would you have enough in your emergency savings account to cover all of your bills and expenses for 6 months? Well, no, not if you've only saved 3 months of equivalent, so that's when I upped it to 6 to 9. Now, I don't know what the hiring market is today. I hadn't looked at it, but I do know this, that I still today will run across candidates that got laid off at their current employer, no fault of their own. They got laid off due to lack of work or market changing and things like that. It happens. So they got laid off from some reason from their previous employer, and it's been several months and they hadn't landed their next position yet. And I have one recruiter that anytime he has someone that sits for a while, he will send them to me and say, hey, this person's been sitting a while and could really use a job. Do you have a need for them? And I'll evaluate. I'm not going to hire somebody out of charity, but if my company has a role in a position and this particular candidate has the skill set, the capabilities, and they can come in and they can get plugged in immediately, then yes, I will consider hiring them, because there's two reasons why I like this candidate. Number one, they fit my need. That is the most important thing. I'm going to hire based on company needs and what the company requires. If they meet that, and then number two, if they've been sitting there for a couple of months and they got laid off due to no fault of their own, they probably have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're probably going to outperform and exceed expectations because they want to prove that they're as good, if not better, than what anybody thinks about them. And so, that's something to keep in mind, that you need enough money in your emergency savings account to cover all of your expenses. And like I said, I've increased it to 6 to 9 months if you're a working adult, especially if you have children, because you need that safety blanket. You need something that tells you, hey, if the world goes to hell, me and my kids are going to be okay. So make sure that you're doing the proper things with this large income, because if you don't tell your money where to go, it sprouts legs and it walks off. It just disappears. I don't know where it goes, but in the past, it didn't matter how much I made. If I didn't have a budget in place and told that money where to go, it just disappeared. It just sprouted legs, walked off, and was like, later. And I didn't know where it went. So, be aware. It doesn't matter how much you make. You have to manage your money. And I think the more money you make, the more you need to manage it. The second thing that you need to be aware of is you increase your income, lifestyle inflation is your enemy. So you have a certain amount of money you make, you have a certain lifestyle associated with that. You hit this big windfall maybe, or maybe it's just you steadily climb the career ladder and you got to a point where, you're making 6 figures plus. I don't know your situation, but something changed and your income increased. Well, that's great, but do not increase your expenses just because your income increases. It's too easy to fall into the trap of spending more just because you make more. One of the things that happened to me is when I started making a little bit of money, everybody was like, when are you going to buy a new car? When are you going to buy a new car? I'm not. I have a 2007 Mazda Miata. It's been long since paid for. The insurance on it's next to nothing. The taxes on it are next to nothing, so I don't have a lot of carrying costs. That little Mazda Miata is so much fun to drive. It's like a little roadster. It's so much fun, and it gets me from point A to point B. It does what I need it to do. I do not see the need to buy a new vehicle, which is going to depreciate the second I drive it off of the lot, or buy a slightly used vehicle that, I'm going to have to pay for, that it's still going to drive from point A to point B. It's going to do the exact same thing that the Mazda Miata does. And so I just don't see it. I don't see the need. Could I have a Lexus or an Audi or a BMW or, fill in the blank? Sure, I could. But I'm managing my money. It doesn't matter how much income I make. My husband, he laughs and he says, I could be a multi-billionaire and I'm still going to be frugal. I'm still going to look at everything that I buy and look at every dollar I spend and make sure it makes sense. I'm not going to waste money. I'm not going to chase the Joneses. I'm not going to even try to keep up with the Joneses. They go ahead, they do what they want to. You want to know why? Because the Joneses, at the end of the day, are going to be poor. They're going to be broke. at the end of the day, I'm going to have wealth. So do not let your lifestyle inflate just because your income does. And the final thing I want to say is financial freedom requires a strategy. If you don't have a clear strategy that is written down, you don't know what you're going to do. You don't know how you're going to get there. You have no plan in place. There's no guarantee any of this is going to happen. If you want to be wealthy, you have to put a strategy in place. You have to write down a plan and you have to execute the plan. But you have to write down a plan to have something to execute. So that means you've got to budget, you've got to invest, and you've got to plan for the future. So every single month you should have a budget. You should know what's coming in, what's going out. And with that budget, you want to look for any leaks, I'm going to call them. Leaks could be, for example, I had a subscription for dog food and my dogs no longer like that dog food. They wouldn't eat it anymore. So the subscription comes in and the dogs are like, yeah, we're still not going to eat that food. And so I'm like, okay. And I had to go in and cancel my subscription because my dogs no longer like that particular food. But if I hadn't have gone in and canceled that subscription, I would have been charged that for something that my dogs wouldn't have eaten. So be aware of subscriptions, especially, the subscription services to watch TV or stream or, gosh, I don't even know what all they are because we don't have them. We honestly don't watch a lot of TV. What TV we do watch predominantly is YouTube. So we do have a YouTube account so we don't have to watch a lot of the commercials. That being said, I hadn't even put that login to all of my devices. So there are devices like on my computer or on my phone. If I watch something on YouTube on one of those devices, I still watch the advertisements and it's okay. But when my husband and I sit down at night after dinner, if we want to watch something, we don't want to watch the advertisements. So we did pay for a YouTube subscription. Plus he likes the music. So he gets the music plan that goes along with that. So we're paying one monthly subscription fee. He gets his music, and then we get to watch YouTube without advertisements. But I know people, not gonna lie to you. Jose, I'm not gonna give his last name. He's married. He has a blended family. He pays $200 a month in subscription fees for television. He has the HBO. He has the Stars. He has Disney Plus. He has the YouTube. He has, gosh, I can't even remember all of them. But I was like, are some of these not similar? Can you not, at least by saying, okay, these two are very similar, let me at least get rid of one. Do you really need all of these? His response to me was, his wife has one show that she watches on each and every single one of these subscription services. And that if he gets rid of something, she's going to scream because she's going to miss being able to watch the next episode of that season. And so to keep his wife happy, he pays $200 a month in subscriptions to watch TV. Well, I understand the happy wife, happy life, but this is a great opportunity to sit down, have the finance conversation with your spouse. Tell your spouse, hey, we are a partnership. We need to work together on this. We need to find a way that we can put a plan in place to build wealth. It's going to benefit us both. How can we become wealthy? Does it make sense to pay $200 a month on subscription services to watch TV? Maybe approach it from that perspective. And when you put it like that, maybe she's going to say, you're right. I don't need HBO and Max and Stars. Maybe I don't need all of them. Maybe I can just pick one with the most shows that I watch and just keep one of the three. So I think it's important to have those conversations with your significant other. Get on the same page, write the plan together, and then execute it together. And when it comes to investing, the more you can automate that, the better. So I will say that I understand you have to have a roof over your head, you have to have transportation, you have to have food. All of those are key, important, and vital. Get those taken care of. But anything beyond that that's not a need, that's just a want, cut it. Get rid of it. Just don't waste your money on it. Instead, automate your investments. Have something set up where money is taken out of your account or maybe directly out of your paycheck and goes into a savings account. For example, my company has matching 401k. So if an employee puts 6% of his or her salary into a 401k retirement plan, then the company will match up to 3% of that. So we do a half match. So that's basically a 3% raise for that employee, just because we are trying to encourage him or her to save for their retirement and to automate it. So it automatically comes out of his or her paycheck, automatically goes into a 401 retirement plan. They're able to manage their own retirement plan. It is not company managed. We do have a partner, Slavic 401k, and so they can log into their Slavic account. They set up with Slavic how they want all of their retirement investment portfolio managed. If they want high risk, medium risk, low risk, if they want to pick particular stocks, they can do that. They have control of it. But as an employer, I want to encourage them to do that. And the way I encourage them is by doing the matching. So with the matching, it helps them to do the automatic saving for their retirement. And I think that's a great thing. Most employers have that now. If not, you can ask your employer about it. We are a small company. We're a small firm, but we still offer it. Why? Because it's important. It's important to me to help my employees to save, because I want my employees in retirement to live a comfortable life, to not stress, to not have anxiety, to not be fearful of bills and money, and not have, not be in a position where Social Security isn't enough and they don't know how they're going to feed themselves and get medication. I do not want that for any of my employees. So I encourage them, set up your 401k, automatic, straight from your paycheck, it goes in. The company will do the match. And I tell people, do the maximum that you can. If you're young, I recommend 10%. As you get older and you build your income, once you get to a point where you have more income coming in than you have costs going out every month, if your income exceeds your expenses, then you've got that variance, you've got that difference, you've got a pot of money to play with. And what are you going to do with it? If you don't tell that pot of money where to go, again, it'll sprout legs, it'll walk off, it'll disappear. Give it a job. Tell that money, hey, I'm not going to waste you. I have you automatically every month taken and put into an investment account that's going to save for my future and that's going to help me to become wealthy and change my family tree. Another thing to consider is audit your spending. Make sure you know where your money's going. Plug any of those leaks that we talked about earlier. Maximize your investments. Make your money work hard for you. You work hard to earn your money. Make your money work hard for you. Seek professional advice. A financial planner can create a roadmap for you. I think if you're listening to this, you're probably doing your own research. Either way works. Even if you have a financial planner that you pay to assist you, make sure you understand what they're recommending, why they're recommending it, and make sure it's right for you in your life in that particular instance. You've got the income, you're a high earner. Now's the time to make the right financial moves. Set yourself up for the life you deserve long term. Find yourself wealth. If this resonates with you, hit the button, subscribe, and we'll continue every week to add more topics to this channel. This channel is for women, but these are all basic financial strategies, so it applies to anybody. As a female, I wanted to help other women to become wealthy, to get past the fear, negativity, and anxiety around money, and learn that money is a tool that can help make your life better and easier. And so that's really the driving reason behind this channel. But again, the financial principles are all universal. Doesn't matter if you're female, male, him, her, they, whatever pronouns you use, it applies. These are fundamentals. So please continue to watch this channel once a week. Like, subscribe, comment. If you have questions, comment below. I've said before, I'll say it again. I am not a certified financial planner. I am somebody that's been there, done that. I went from not being able to pay my bills to living a very nice lifestyle, having a roadmap to bring wealth. And I want to help you to do that too. Thank you very much.